Nice to meet you again. Last time, we learnt about some greeting, how to count to 20, and ask and reply for the language you are speaking. Today, we will learn about what you like or love and what you do not like or do not love, how to count to 70, and the positive and the negative. Now that you got a good picture about this lesson, let's start by the first one. The verb to say, love, or like, is the same. It is the verb
aimer,
This verb is part of the first group and is a regular verb, like for the verb.
parler,
Let's start conjugating this verb, so useful in everyday life. To do this, you will need to do like all regular verbs. That is to say, take the base of the infinitive and use it throughout, without changing anything. Then, add the endings. Now, let's work it.
j'aime, tu aimes, il aime, elle aime, nous aimons, vous aimez, ils aiment, elles aiment.
Now that you know how to say love or like, let's use this verb to describe the things you love or like by showing you, before everything, some names. Pay attention and also write down all this vocabulary in your notebook. It will be very useful later. Ready? Let's start.
Bien entendu. Un voisin,
For male,
une voisine,
for female,
un mari, une femme, un nom, un prénom,
then some last more also.
un pays, une nation, avec, sans, dans, ça, cela,
Which are demonstrative pronouns, like, for example, I like that, or I love that. It's just that one is used orally, while the other is used more in writing. Let's use now all this new vocabulary with the verb to like or to love in French.
aimer,
Like, for example,
j'aime mon pays, tu aimes ta femme,
or again,
il aime parler avec Charles, elle aime être dans son pays,
but also,
nous aimons notre voisin, bien entendu, vous aimez votre nom. Les étudiants aiment parler français et anglais.
you know now how to say, I love, or I like, but what about the things you do not love or do not like? That's what we're gonna see right now. Let's see how to create a simple negative sentence. To begin, let's take the verb, I love.
J'aime,
Then, we will take the words,
ne
and,
pas,
put the first negative between the subject and the verb. Give the vowel back to the subject because it is before a consonant, and remove the vowel from the negative word. Because it is before a vowel, then put an apostrophe between the two. Then put the second negative just after the verb. And it's done. You have a negative sentence.
je n'aime pas,
So what don't you like? Or don't you love? Let's do some examples.
je n'aime pas mon voisin, je n'aime pas le président.
Keep in mind that the basic negation in French is subject plus
Ne
verb plus.
pas,
Write this rule in your notebook. You are going to use it many times. Let's work it with some more example.
Je ne parle pas avec le voisin. Je ne parle pas français.
After the negation, let's move on to numbers. From the beginning, you learn to count from 0 to 20, which is perfect to go further. And you'll see, it's going to be easier now. Let's start. We now, for 20, it is said.
20,
But, to say 21, it is said.
21,
Which means, literally, 20 and 1. Now, what is coming next will be like in English. So, for 22, it is said.
22,
For 23, it is said.
23,
For 24, it is said.
24,
For 25, it is said.
25,
Then, for 26, it is said.
26,
For 27, it is said.
27,
For 28, it is said.
28,
For 29, it is said.
29,
And finally, for 30, it is said.
30.
This process can be repeated, like this, until 70. So, let's take a quick look at the whole thing. After 30, we get,
31,
and then,
32,
and again,
33,
etc. To continue, with 40, which is said.
40,
After 40,
41,
and then,
42,
and again,
43,
etc. To continue, with 50, which is said.
50,
After 50,
51,
and then,
52,
and again,
53,
etc. To finally continue, with 60, which is said.
60,
And after 60, there is,
61,
and then,
62,
and again,
63,
etc. Finally, when we are reaching the number 70, we reach the level of the 7, so it will be like for the Roman. So, 70, in French, will be, literally, 60 plus 10, to be said, in French.
70.
Let's go back to some very useful expressions for everyday life. I mean, how to say yes and no. For yes, we say,
Oui,
and for no, we say.
non.
That's all for today. I hope this has been very useful to you in your progression of French. If you still have some questions regarding this lesson, just leave me a comment below. I will do my best to respond to you as soon as possible. If you enjoyed this lesson, give me a thumbs up. It is always lovely to get it. And if you haven't yet, just subscribe. That way, you won't miss anything that's going to follow. But for the moment, see you next time.